Hello students, I am Dr. Saliha Jamal, Associate Professor from Department of Geography, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Welcome you all to again the next lecture of spatial analysis. This lecture is in continuation with the previous lecture. If you remember students, we have till date completed what is spatial analysis, types of spatial analysis, and now we are going to cover applications of spatial analysis. We have defined spatial analysis simply in terms that monitoring and modeling the earth features, we can say, in terms of the locations, their relationships and all that comes under the spatial analysis. And in during its type we have discussed few of its major types. For example, query and reasoning in spatial analysis we have discussed. We have discussed measurement in region analysis. We have discussed that we can say measurement in spatial analysis, and also we have discussed the transformation in spatial analysis. In all these things we have also discussed about the important role that is played by the spatial analysis in different aspects. Now it's time that we are going to discuss about the application of spatial analysis. In terms of the application of spatial analysis, there are immense field in which this spatial analysis can be used, and we are going to discuss it one by one. In this lecture, I have taken today the urban planning and development and public health management, the two aspects where the application of spatial analysis can be seen. So today's lecture includes urban planning and development, which is one of the most important field where the application of spatial analysis can be seen. For example, in developing the resilient urban cities, monitoring urban heat island, green spaces, the quality of life, traffic flow analysis, and air quality monitoring. Next, we are going to discuss the public health management and its varied aspect one by one. So starting with today's section, that is urban planning and development, we know that now the urban areas are facing a very significant challenge due to the various factors. In coming decades, we know that most of the population will be living in the urban areas. There is a lot of migration can be seen from the rural areas to the urban areas. The population of urban areas are generally increasing at a very faster rate. Once the population is increasing, it means the different types of demands by the population will also increase. In terms of the urban areas, we can see the built up space requirement will increase. That it is but obvious this built up will increase either on the cost of open space, we can say, or either on the cost of green spaces, or either on the cost of water bodies, etc. So if we are reducing the natural covers which is balancing the ecosystem of our planet Earth, then generally it is but obvious that lots of repercussions can be seen, and these thing needs to be these changes can be seen at alarming rate, and this is to be addressed by various means and methods. Now the urban areas are facing lots of challenges, mainly also due to the climate change also, which is prompting the cities officials to seek solution in order to mitigate its effects on the residents. Technologies like various tools and techniques of the spatial analysis, geospatial technologies, that in particular the GIS is providing lots of geospatial data, and which is offering now valuable support to endeavor these problems. The policymakers, decision makers can also leverage this spatial data with a focus on various types of spaces in order to make the cities more resilient and more sustainable, we can say. For example, we can develop and implement deforestation initiatives based on the several spatial analysis. Not only this, but even the monitoring the industrial emissions in order to determine the need for transitioning, and in order to find out the renewable energy sources. This also can also help to make the cities more resilient. But nowadays we can see the due to the climate change, the main direct impact of the climate change can be seen on rising sea level. So monitoring the rising sea level attributed mainly to the global warming, and we have to devise certain actions and plans in order to associated threats. So that is to be also monitored. We have to keep check on these aspects and all. So there are various aspects in making the cities more resilient and urban cities that need to be monitored, that need to be analyzed. Discussing with the few of the aspect. For example, if I'm going to discuss like monitoring the urban heat island to make the cities more resilient, livable and sustainable. If we are discussing that urban heat island, what is urban heat island? Urban heat island, simply the cities are more warmer as compared to its surrounding areas. The temperature of the cities is comparatively, it is said that 3 to 12 degrees centigrade varies as compared to the surrounding areas, maybe suburban areas, maybe rural areas. These urban heat islands effect describes the situation whether natural vegetation is replaced by the built-up structures, which generally leads to the prolonged heat retention. So this is very significant challenge now the humanity, mostly the urban areas, is facing, and that needs to be addressed by several technologies. Most importantly here, that spatial analysis can play a very crucial role in solving this problem. For example, utilizing the tools like satellite imagery from the different programs, like we can utilize the Landsat data, the thermal remote sensing, even we can have the on-site observational studies which can enhance our comprehension of the specific spatial patterns caused by the urban heat island effect. Though such methods, it becomes possible to pinpoint all these methods like using various tools and techniques of the spatial analysis, it is very much possible to pinpoint what are the root cause of this urban heat island effect, and we can implement appropriate mitigation measures. So here the spatial analysis plays a very important role. Nowadays, we said that cities are simmering. Day by day, the cities are simmering. Cities and the urban areas are experiencing a very higher level of heat exposure than the surrounding rural areas. And I have already discussed that is almost the variation can be seen from 3.5 degrees centigrade to 12 degrees centigrade. Maybe the urbanization can aggravate, further urbanization can aggravate heat exposure for the residents of the core urban areas, which can have the repercussions in terms of the ill effect. For example, if you see this urban heat island here in this diagram, urban heat island effect, you can see this particular area is the urban area. This is the temperature curve you can see in red line. This is the, we can say, the suburban areas, and this is the temperature curve in the rural area. You can say that, you can see here the temperature curve of the urban areas is very much high as compared to the temperature curve of the suburban areas, while the temperature curve of the rural areas is the lowest. So it means there are relationships that need to be monitored why the urban areas is having a higher temperature as compared to its surrounding, whether it is suburban areas, and whether the reasons are many, because the built up structure, various built up structure, the heat in that particular built up structure, the heat usually gets trapped in the lower atmosphere, thus increasing the temperature. Not only this, the built up structure, due to the expansion of the built up structure on cost of the green spaces, the green spaces are shrinking day by day. That is also one of the cause why the temperatures are being usually high in the cities. So it becomes very important to monitor the temperature condition with respect to the, that is known as urban heat island effect in the urban areas. By monitoring these type this type of temperature increase, we can implement appropriate measures and mitigation processes to solve this. Similarly, not only the urban heat island, we can monitor the urban green spaces because it has lots of environmental effects, because we are studying the role of spatial analysis in urban planning and development. So urban green spaces, we know that it is generally mainly it is decreased due to the expansion of built up areas. And not only this, urban green is causing, not only it is decreasing the breathable space, but due to this the extinction of various flora and faunal habitats can be seen, which make disbalance in our ecosystem. Similarly, there is creation of many environmental problems like air pollution we can observe, even we can see noise pollution, etc. Lack of green spaces is destroying our urban breathing space, but even we need trees and green space for healthy citizen. Loss of green, various researchers says that loss of green space is related to the various health implication, just like we can say depression, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, stress related illness, etc. A research from the Deakin University says that the for a healthy citizen, for the healthy city dwellers, we need green spaces at least at 5 minutes of walking distance from the residential area, which impacts our health in a positive manner. Thus, here monitoring urban green spaces through the spatial analysis plays a very important role here. Again, here I would like to show its importance by this particular example. You can see here the land use land cover map of 3 decades, of 4 time period, that is of 3 decades. You can see here. Now you can see from 1990, and this one you can see that is of 2020. From this one is 1990. The red portion is showing the built up area, the green portion is showing the green spaces, the blue portion is showing the water bodies, and we can say the yellow portion is showing the open spaces, because this is the urban areas, almost the agricultural area is absent. So these are the major land use category. Now you can see the red color, the built up area in 1990, and compare it with the other time period. It is continuously expanding. You can see the expansion of built up area. It is but obvious this expansion is taking place either on cost of these green spaces, either on the cost of open spaces, or either on cost of the water bodies. So in 2020, you can see a lots of expansion of this of this built up space. We have reduced green space a lot. So it is obvious that the related repercussions can be seen. It becomes very important to monitor these aspects in order to see the future trends. If these change, land cover change is continuing with same pace, what will be the future of this particular region? So accordingly, the administration, the policy makers can take smart decision that how we have to plan our future cities for making it more resilient and more sustainable. Just I have extracted only the green space. I have extracted only the green spaces. So you can see here lot of decrease in this particular area, lot of decrease in the green spaces is clearly visible. So these all are possible by using the tools and techniques, various analytical methods of spatial analysis. Even using the spatial data in the GIS environment, even we can evaluate the per capita urban green space, the per capita. There are standards given by FAO, and there are standards given by the WHO and various developed countries that per capita how much green space are required per person. So per capita, here the green space we can see the red and the orange orange zones. These are the most vulnerable zone which lack green spaces even less than 2 or only just having 2 to 4 meter square per city dweller. Almost the standard that is given by the FAO, it should be more than 9 meter square per city dweller, and by most of the developed countries the standard is given that more than 20 meter square per city dweller the green space is needed. So just students, you can imagine in what condition the city dwellers are living here, where the zones are found in red, orange, only they are even living with the green spaces having even less than 2 or 2 to 4 meter square per city dweller. So now it is the time to to address this problem for making our cities more resilient for the future. So here it is the role of, we can say, spatial analysis. Now, after discussing the monitoring of urban heat island for the city planning and development, we can also plan this city, determining the quality of life of this city to make it more sustainable. So in this we can see that all the spatial data, mostly the geographical spatial data, that enables the detection of various patterns that reflects the socio-economic quality of the life of the particular region. With the spatial data, it is, you can see what are the different patterns, and these patterns can reflect various socio-economic quality of life of the particular region to which we are concerned. For example, these patterns may reveal the presence and distribution of essential infrastructure, maybe hospitals, we can say schools of primary level, secondary level of higher education, various government offices where the opportunities for the employment is more. These types of distribution can be revealed from these geospatial data. So, an equitable distribution of such amenities and facilities, it points out that the region is offering all the necessary facilities for high quality of life. So, utilizing these techniques, we can find out which are the regions that is lacking such facilities in terms of the road networking, in terms of the distribution of a school, in terms of the hospital health facilities. So we can find out region, their clusters, and if the region is lacking these facilities, and we can find out most priority areas where attention is to be paid in priority. So by using these techniques, like nowadays utilizing techniques like machine learning and even the deep learning, the policymakers, the users can analyze the satellite data and can have various information which has the interplay between the factors like poverty, literacy, education, healthcare and all. So analyzing all this type of data can help a lot in planning. This analysis can provide valuable understanding of the socioeconomic landscape and inform targeted interventions to improve quality of life indicators. Thus here we can find out simply, in simple language we can say the spatial analysis can play a very important role in finding the distribution of facilities, the indicators of quality of life in terms of various amenities and facilities. So by that mapping the distribution of these facilities, we can find which area is lacking in these facilities, which area is having ideal condition or having all the necessary facilities that is required by the resident, and the area which is lacking these facilities, that can be given due attention accordingly. Another example we can say the traffic flow analysis, that is very important because if we see the spatial data that allows for the spatial data which is collected from the various sources, either we are collecting on-site data, either we can collect it from the imageries or aerial photographs, etc. These spatial data allows for modeling the traffic flow and congestion, highlighting the flaws in the transportation system. We can find out that which portion, which point of the road where the congestion is more, and we can even find out the what is the flaw in particular transportation system, that proper traffic jam is taking place at particular point. Even we can find out the volume of flow of traffic. We can monitor even at certain point wise, time wise, the flow of traffic. Everything can be monitored with the help of the spatial data, spatial analysis. By analyzing the spatial data, the road experiencing the chronic congestion and which generally exceeds the capacity limit can be pinpointed. Once we used to find out the road which is mainly affected by the chronic congestion, we can find even through the overlay methods, by having the transportation map, by having the land use map, by having the road networking map overlaid on each other, and we can through the intersection we can find out the alternative bypasses, and in order to reduce the traffic jam at particular road network. So many times we see that individuals with lower incomes, they often lack the personal vehicles, which exacerbates transit challenges for the demographic. Additionally, the absence of adequate public transportation in various places, that reduces the employment opportunities. This is one of the essential amenity, we can say. If the particular place is lacking in particular public transportation, it means there will be decrease in access to the employment opportunities. Thus, the spatial analysis can be said that spatial analysis aids in identifying these urban shortcomings and empowering authorities to implement timely remedial measures, and to take they usually take smart decisions, evidence based decisions, in order to plan the present and the future cities for their sustainability. So these are the few. There are n number of, we can say, aspect where we can show. We have seen the urban heat island. We have seen the reduction, monitoring green spaces, the traffic network. Another example we can take the monitoring air quality nowadays, whether it is the big city or we can say medium-sized city. But even the medium-sized cities are becoming more one of the hub for more population increase, because big cities are now being concentrated. So these medium-sized cities are becoming the potential zone for the population, for the migrated people, that is from the rural areas to the urban areas. So ambient air pollution is also day by day that is increasing. Even through the aid of the spatial analysis, we can monitor the air quality. We have to select several sites. For example, I have just given an example. Through several, we can select several sites from where air quality is to be monitored. That site may be taken from where the traffic flow is higher, even from where we can see the lots of green spaces near the silent zones and all. We can say from these places, from the different types of places, we can take the air quality monitoring for the proper comparison. Here you can see the air quality monitoring. Few of the sites, just in previous slide you have seen, we have taken 7 sites. So all the other regions, the value of the air quality remains unknown. In order to know the value of this unknown values, we may use interpolation techniques through various methods. Even you can use IDW method in order to have interpolation. Through the interpolation, it is possible to know the unknown values of the region from the other sites. So this interpolation, through the interpolation, we can see the air quality monitoring through the interpolation, which are the regions which is having the poor air quality. Here the different parameters are taken, like oxides of we can say carbon oxides of nitrogen, particulate matter 2.5, 10, and oxides of we can say sulfur dioxide. So these are the parameters that has been taken, and we can find out which are most vulnerable zone regarding these parameters, and accordingly steps by the administration or the different organizations can be taken to solve this particular problem. Now, once we have seen few aspects how we can how we can plan city for its sustainability and making the city resilient, another aspect we can see the public health management. And here also we can see that spatial analysis is playing very important role. Very important role. We can make various aspects of the health management in terms of the disease. In terms, we can also map out and find out the origin of the disease, the spread of the disease, the route of spread of the disease can be monitored, the diffusion of the diseases can be monitored, the cause and effect relationship even can be monitored. Not only this, during the public health management, just mapping out, finding out the spread and diffusion of the diseases is not enough, but in order to have a complete planning, we have to also monitor the distribution of healthcare provisions that is existing in different areas. So through the spatial analysis, it is all possible to even find out the disease pattern, trends, their cause and effect relationships, and what are the health provision services that are present in the particular areas. Satellite observations play a very important role here. We can see one of the source of spatial data collection is also a satellite observation, and nowadays a big data is available. Voluminous data from the different satellite imageries can be obtained. So observations through the satellite is playing nowadays a very important role in predicting the spread of the diseases across different regions. We can analyze the spatial data and can find out certain patterns. Through finding out these patterns, the policymakers can monitor disease transmission even, and also they can implement various preventive measures effectively. Moreover, integrating, we know there is direct relationship between the different elements of weather and the health aspects. So integrating weather variables like the precipitation aspect, the temperature variations with the disease data, it increases the understanding, it enhances the understanding of how weather is influencing the disease spread or prevalence in different areas. For waterborne diseases, the factors such as temperature and the presence of nearby water bodies like lakes and rivers are particularly important in assessing the disease progression. So these all can be, we can find out through using various techniques of the spatial analysis. Initiatives like the we can say, for example, World Mosquito Program, WMP, we can say, that is mainly operated by the non-profit organization, and it was also collaborated with the communities, local communities, in order to mitigate the spread of mosquito-borne diseases. So thus here it plays a very important role, and nowadays we are talking lots of about utilizing the machine learning, utilizing the spatial analysis technologies, and these type of programs generally aims to enhance their operations and effectiveness in disease prevention and control. So these through aspect, we can say, we can find out lots of things, and we can proceed for the health management. Now, related to the health management, sanitation plays a very important role, like sanitation and health facilities. It plays a very important role. If we see how the spatial analysis is enabling, the spatial analysis generally enables the mapping of the regions with direct access to the sanitation facilities. We generally map out and find out the regions which are having the direct access to the sanitation facilities, just like wastewater collection, whether the access is there for the wastewater collection, access to water pumping stations, waste treatment plants are present or not within the geographic area. So these type of data can provide various informations into the population served by the services, that generally allows the concerned authorities, policy makers to identify the areas which are lacking this adequate sanitation infrastructure, which we have discussed, like water pumping station, waste treatment plant, etc. So we use to identify which are the areas which are having these necessary sanitation services and which are the areas which are lacking with this sanitation infrastructure. So with this spatial information, authorities can strategize and implement additional sanitation services where needed to enhance the community well-being. Likewise, the spatial data, the GIS systems can be used to map the health facilities, like the presence of clinics at different places, distribution of hospitals we can find out in a particular region, and this type of data helps to identify the populations which are lacking access to the healthcare services, maybe the different types of clinic, specialized services, etc. So depending upon the identified need, authorities can develop targeted healthcare programs using spatial maps. Why we are mainly developing the targeted healthcare? Because when we are planning, we have to identify the priority zone, the zone where the priority is to be given. So in order to improve the healthcare accessibility for underserved communities, plans can be made. So here we can see the role of spatial analysis. Not only this, in locating the health facilities, in finding out the areas that lacking the health facilities, or in just finding out the spread or disease, spread and diffusion of the diseases are possible with the spatial analysis. Whether the map, we can also map the vaccination statistics. For example, recently we have seen that COVID-19 pandemic has posed lots of challenges, not only in India but globally, particularly to the healthcare sector, which generally, and during this COVID-19 we have felt that is generally relied on vaccination as one of the primary solution. So monitoring vaccination at that time was very important. So monitoring vaccination programs effectively, it was crucial at that time, and the government can achieve this with spatial data, have already achieved this with spatial data using GIS technologies and all. By employing the spatial analysis, authorities can track vaccine distribution and can also ensure equitable coverage across the various localities. Thus, we can say the spatial analysis is playing a pivotal role, a very important role in facilitating the large-scale vaccination programs, and it is effectively managing public health crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic. So, lot of applications can be seen. The applications of the spatial analysis can be seen in making the cities more sustainable and more resilient. The cities can be planned in such a way by seeing the past, by seeing the present, and planning can be, smart planning can be done for the future. So, this was the lecture just related to the we can say develop urban planning and development. This is one of the application which I have discussed here. More applications will be discussed in the next lecture. Till then, have a nice day, student. Thank you.